Hi, welcome to another episode of Overnight Success. My name is Oluwamayowa Idowu, and today I am joined by record producer Chopstix.
Yes, sir.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel amazing. Thank
That's
you.
good.
Yeah.
So, when I speak to people here, I usually start by asking them a slightly silly personality question.
Oh, okay.
So, pick one. Everyone can read your thoughts, or your internet search history becomes publicly available.
My internet search history can be publicly.
Why?
I mean, because there's really nothing on the internet anyone can hide. If we've all searched terrible things in the past or whatever, So yeah, I mean, I have nothing to hide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Mayowa Idowu. I'm a lawyer, writer, and journalist, and I'm also editor-in-chief of Culture Custodian. Overnight Success is an interview series where I speak to some of my favorite creators and entrepreneurs on the journeys and stories that got them to where they are. That is, young, successful people doing interesting things. I don't think there's any such thing as an overnight success, or is there? Find out more by watching this video. And when you're done, please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and share it with as many people as possible. Thank you. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Overnight Success. Yeah. So, you're Yoruba,
Yes, I am Yoruba.
but you were born in Kano
Yes.
and you grew up
correct.
in Jos.
Correct.
So, talk to me, how did that shape you?
So basically, I was born in Sabongeri, the town in Kano called
Yeah.
Sabongeri. So I kind of like did my primary school there. My dad was an engineer when he was alive. And also he was traveling around a lot. And while we were in Kano, there was a kind of like a riot at the time.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. So and then after a while, we had to move. So we left there and then moved to Abia State, Umahia, which is where I now did my primary school. And then I picked up some Igbo there. I started learning how to speak Igbo. And then from there, he got a job and then we had to now move to Jos.
So, your papa was Obiano?
Yeah, I speak Igbo house and Yoruba.
That's cool.
Moved
That's
to
a
Jos, grew up in my secondary school in Jos, and then just met everyone there.
How did your parents' background shape you?
None of my parents have any entertainment ties. My dad was an engineer. My mom was a caterer and a designer as well. So
That's entertainment.
well, it's creative. But my mom was a creative, and my dad is more of a science guy. You get me? And I'd say, but what shaped me was how how I was brought up. How my parents decided to bring me up. But whatever their what they do, or whatever their job was, had no influence on me. It was just what they decided to, what traits they decided to grow in me, what they saw and they decided to bring to life. That I would say that shaped me. Because my mom was very supportive with me and my older brother, because I'm the last. So when we were
How
kids,
many?
6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when we were kids, my brother was the music lover. He loves music so much, And me, I was an art guy. I paint and draw a lot. Everyone in my family can draw and paint, basically. But I was more interested in that than music. But he does music a lot, and my mom noticed that we were like into that, and then she bought us this small piano. It's like a toy piano that has a mic connected to it, so you can like pretend as if you're, So that was like the first contact with music that I had. And then growing up, my brother kept listening to more hip hop, dancehall, reggae, and all that stuff, and that was how I got influenced by that. And we would set up 2 boom boxes. So I literally destroyed all my mom's tapes. She had all these gospel songs and gospel tapes. What we'll do is there's a program on radio that happens every, I think, 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. back in Jos. It was like a hip hop program where they just play beats. They play rap songs and they play instrumentals. So whenever we take time to just wait for, whenever the instrumentals are playing, we either record it or we set up the second boombox and press record on there. My brother raps and he records everything.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah,
Super
that was
cool.
Yeah. So we always just kept doing that, and that was where my love for music just connected and grew.
Okay, so you're a self-trained instrumentalist.
Yeah. To an extent. to an extent, because someone was teaching me in the church choir and I got kicked out. So
what? Tell me about that.
Okay, so after my love for music, grew, I just wanted to learn more. Because it was just so interesting. Music is such a thing that when you go into it, yeah, as a young person, it would consume you. It would take all your time, because it's so interesting. You learn something new every day, and I'm a very curious person. I'm a very, I love to just discover stuff. I love challenges and stuff, But so I had a friend who was in the church choir. He played all the instruments. He played guitar, bass guitar, lead guitar, piano. He played the drums. I was just a cool guy, So, and I told him, bro, like, I really love music. I want to learn how to play it. At least let me just play, piano. Let me learn something. And he was like, okay, cool. When next we're doing our choir practice, come through. I can teach you stuff. So I joined the choir illegitimately, because there's a fee you pay to join. There's a whole process. There's a sign-up process. You fill a form, whatever. I never did all that. I just joined and was showing up to practices, And then every Sunday after we play at the service, we would have a meeting, like a choir meeting after, and then to discuss how, like, what to improve on, what to play next weekend, when next the practice is going to be, and all that. And when they were talking about, when we were just having a conversation, I don't know what pushed me. I raised my hand to speak. I just kept quiet, man. And so I was trying to make a suggestion, like, we play High Life all the time. Every Sunday is High Life, High Life, High Life.
And this is you as not a member of the choir?
Not a member of the choir. I forgot. That
just an interloper?
Yes. I had forgotten because I've been going to rehearsals over it. So, and while I was making a suggestion, like, why don't we try like reggae, like, calypso, like just other genres of music? And then the guy looked at me, the choir master looked at me and just noticed, like, I don't know you. Like, where are you from? Who let you in here? Like, when did you sign on? And then that was how he knew that, I was just some guy that was just, I should have just been a fly on the wall. And I got kicked out. Yeah, so that's one side of that of the story.
Okay, so you were talking earlier about your interest in the arts.
Yeah.
And you would go on to Ahmadu Bello
University
to study fine and applied arts.
Yeah.
Did you see yourself having a career as an artist? Or were you just going with the flow?
I already had a career as an artist before I even got into school. I was already making art, painting, selling works. In fact, that was how I was able to raise some funds for myself to even do some stuff for myself as a teenager. Outside of what my parents would help me with. My first computer that I built myself, I sold some art, made some money, and I also got some money from my mom as well to buy. But I bought it in stages. It's not like now where you can just buy a computer. I had to piece it together by myself. I bought the case, bought the motherboard, bought the hard drive, the RAMs. Gradually, it took me about 3 months to piece it together, But yeah, I was already doing art, but connecting with music music just stole my heart, and that was how I was like, okay, I already know how to do this. Let me just focus on this thing and learn it.
Okay, so eventually you would meet a rapper.
Yeah.
Called Ice Prince.
Yeah.
And you guys will become close collaborators. So talk to me about that relationship, how you guys met and how you guys were able to build it out that you were his close collaborator at the peak of his success.
Yeah. The person who acted as a connector with everyone that I've met from Jos is Abuchi.
Shout out to Abuchi.
Big shout out to Abuchi. Abuchi is currently the CEO of Chocolate City.
We've had him on another podcast of ours, and his story is so fascinating.
It's amazing, yeah.
For you guys who haven't, go and listen to it with an S podcast. Like Abuchi's story, legendary.
I mean, so we're basically just kids growing up, and the first time I met Abuchi, I was going to the studio where he worked with MI to record with an artist that who was a close friend of mine, who was just, I was like, okay, cool, I'm learning how to produce. You're an artist with amazing vocals. So we just connected.
Who was the artist?
He doesn't sing anymore. He's into filmmaking now. His name is Shehu.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went to the studio to record. Also, although we couldn't record that day, the session never happened. But I met Abuchi, and he just heard my music. Like, yo, this is so. He was just so upfront about helping me. I don't know why. I just don't know. I just met this guy. He was just such a kind guy. That just felt the fact that he just needed to connect me with people. So he linked me with Ice Prince, and then and the thing about Ice Prince is, if Ice Prince loves your work, he'll make sure everyone around him, loves it too. Like, he will make sure he gets everyone to listen to it. He's been like that till now, So Abuchi introduced me to Ice Prince, and I met Ice, and I had like a Discman at the time, Walkman, with just beats on the CDs. That I burned beats on the CDs, and listen. So he just took it and was listening to it, and he just walked away with it. And he was just in his own world. Then he ran back in the studio and came to Emma. He was like, "Em, you need to hear this guy. This guy is such a dope. You need to hear this beats, man." Then I think M was having a session, so he didn't really have time to like listen. And when it was time for us to leave and just go back home, I was like, "Yo, I'm coming to your house with you." And my house is far. I thought, bro, I live very far. Like, don't worry, let's go. And so he came to the house he came to the crib, with me. It was like he wants to hear more stuff. So I just turned on the computer and I was just playing himself and he was freestyling. He was just rapping non-stop. And since then we just connected and became friends. Since then till date. And so Abuchi hit me up again and was like, come through. There's another studio where I work, that I'm managing. It's one of the biggest studios in Jos at the time. The in-house producer there was a guy called Meka E.
Okay.
Yeah, who was producing P Square at the time.
Yeah.
So Abuchi now invited me over to the studio, introduced me to everybody. Meka E was supposed to relocate to Lagos in a week. So they needed an in-house producer to take over. And I feel like I was still too inexperienced to be an in-house producer for a big studio, one of the major studios in Jos at the time. But Abuchi didn't think so. He just thought, just come, learn from this guy, and then you can handle this thing. You can actually do it. He convinced me that I could do it, and I believed it. And so I went to the studio, got introduced to Meka E. And I feel like Meka E taught me how to use, because he produced on Sonar, I produced on Fruity Loops.
Okay.
Yeah. So Meka E taught me how to use Sonar in less than 5 days. I had to learn it.
Because that's what you use in the studio.
Yeah. I had to learn it. I had to learn how to produce people with it, just make it work, So he taught me, gave me, like, I would just come in the studio, sit behind him and just watch. And then one day he was like, bro, if you want to learn this thing, just because I can learn by watching.
But he wanted you to learn by actually doing.
Exactly. So he pulled me over like, yo, if you want to do this, do this, do this. And he just showed me, guided me through. And then the following week, he relocated to Lagos. So I had to be there and run that studio for a while before I got taken over by a guy called Suka. Suka Sounds. He used to work with EME. He used to like mix and master a lot of Nigerian hit songs at the time.
Abuchi did the same too.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing about Abuchi is, Abuchi and I mixed and mastered Aboki. That's Ice Prince's hit single.
Yeah.
We actually did it together because I had finished producing the song and we needed to mix and master it. So we're shopping it around to like sound engineers. But every time it comes back to us, it was lacking something, it was dry, So I just told Abuchi, bro, let's just sit down and do this by ourselves. Let's do it to the point where we're satisfied, where we know that, okay, cool, this is what we need. We just sat on it and mixed and mastered it.
Okay, so...
And he mixed and mastered Oleku as well.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There's something you were saying there that I think is really important, which is Jos's hold on Nigerian culture. Yeah. So its role as one of like the greatest, most significant talent incubators. So in the course of our conversation, we're talking about the Chalk Boys, we're talking about, Ice Prince, Jesse, P Square.
Mm-hmm.
And, what do you think it is about that city that has made it just such a creative hub?
First things first, I think it's just the environment. It's not toxic. Also, it's not until I moved to Lagos. When I moved to Lagos was when I saw firsthand what betrayal is. I saw things that I used to hear about. Just things that are very, very real. In Jos, you can be driving 12 at midnight and have a flat tire, and a total stranger can pull up and help you fix the car or even give you a lift. That was the environment I grew up in. That was what I was used to. People are just real. People are just genuine kindness, and people are just they're real with no ulterior motive. Until I moved there, I got a rude awakening. I saw firsthand where people would backbite, where people would just betray, and just all sorts of shit. So I think it's just the environment and just the weather, and people. It's just so calm. It's serene. If you're there, if you just need to think and just need to open your head, just go there. It just lets your brain just function, rather than worrying about just the chaotic nature of Lagos. You already know how Lagos is with the noise and the sounds and everything, but just it's a bit more chilled, it's calm, the people are warm and welcoming. So I think that type of environment just lets you flourish as a creative.
Yeah. So pretty much you're an honorary Chalk Boy.
I produced Chalk Boy, but I'm not a Chalk Boy.
No, I'm
I'm a great boy.
I mean, I'm saying that you're
Yeah.
an honorary chalk
Okay,
boy
okay,
in
yeah,
terms
okay.
of obviously being closely associated with
Okay, you can say that, yeah.
with this, this movement.
Mhm.
So, as someone who was witnessing this at its peak, what was it like for you being part of such a legendary collective? Or, I mean, you were on the outskirts, so, but yeah, I mean, you were involved.
Yeah, at the moment when it was happening, I wasn't really thinking much about it. I was just in the moment, just producing, just making things happen. But I'm thinking back at it now. I would say it was an honor to be part of that story, to be part of, because I love being part of great stories, because I feel like I feel like everyone has a great story. It just depends on who you connect with and who's able to see it and who's down to make it come to life. But at the time when it was happening, we were just young guys, just creating, and it just happened that we created some of the classics and great music that people listen to.
So, one person who you have like a great story with is Odogu.
Oh, Burna Boy, yeah. Okay.
And what's that like? What's your guys' relationship like? What's it like working with him? And how did you guys first lock in?
I met him through Ice Prince as well.
Shout out Ice Prince.
Yeah, no, big shout out to Ice Prince. I met a lot of people through Ice Prince. I met him through Ice Prince, and our first contact was when we were trying to record a song called "Give Me That." There was a first version that had one day code on it, and one day had a verse that wasn't finished. Some parts weren't done. But I think at the time he wasn't available to finish it up because he was probably on tour or like performing on stuff. And we had a deadline to put in the song for the album, for the project. And we needed to just get that song done. So Ice had hit up Burna. Even before he hit up Burna, Ice had already told me about Burna Boy. He was like, bro, you need to listen to this guy. I feel like you guys, he would tell you, like, I feel like this guy, you and this guy can make great music. He would always just ring it in my ear. Listen to this guy, listen to this guy. Ice Prince is one of the people that is quick to point who the next person is. Like he has, I don't know how he does it. He knows.
Foresight.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when he met Kendrick Lamar in America, he came back and he told me, bro, I met some guy in some few years to come, he's going to be a problem. He said it. He even had a whole tweet. There's a whole evidence online, but he had said it to me. And I was wondering, like, who's Kendrick Lamar? And I went online to check and I saw the guy's a rapper. I'm like, okay, this guy's just an underground rapper. But look at what Kendrick is doing today. Mm-hmm. So he said the same thing about Burna Boy. He told me, like, you need to work with this guy. You guys are going to make like some crazy music together. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then he played me some Burna's record. And then when Like the Party dropped, he brought it in my ear, like, I told you, work with this guy. And then so he had invited Burna over to record a verse on Give Me That. And we were in his house, actually, in Ice Prince's house. And as soon as I played the music, Burna he had never heard the song ever. That was his first time listening to it. I played the music and he just said, let me hear the empty verse. And he was just smoking and just listening. And I said, Tom, this is less than 10 minutes of just listening to less than 8 minutes, just a few minutes of listening to the beat. Like, turn the mic on, let me record it. And he just blew through it, one take. The only time I see that kind of thing happen is when I'm working with Young L. Those are the people that I know that but this is the first Lagos artist I'm working with that just...
It's not Lagos artist.
I know, but
yeah.
Shout out to Port Harcourt boys, by the way. Anyways, but he just blew through the verse. And it was just mind-blowing just watching that whole process, So, and I just knew that, okay, cool, Ice Prince is right. This guy is exceptional, And since then, we just connected. And then the first song we did a couple of records together. The first official song that we did together that got released is a song called Rockstar.
I remember that.
Yeah. So Lyric had produced apparently, because I didn't know Lyric had produced a version, and then I made a new version. I didn't even know there was a previous version, but the official version that was released was the version that I produced, which was the first song that I recorded with Burna Boy. And then before, when I went on to do Deja Vu and a bunch of other songs.
Some of my favorite records.
Yeah.
Deja Vu.
Yeah.
And most prominently, you would produce Last Last.
Oh yeah.
Global hits.
Yeah.
And I watch your the breakdown video you did,
Okay.
like the beats breakdown video you did. But I'm curious, like, you know, again, how did that come about? And did you think that song was going to be that big?
Yeah, when we're done, we knew. Because there's certain songs that, listen, if you've been doing this thing for years, there's a point you get to where experience will just teach you. You will know what you. It's like having a product that you know that this is your selling product, and this is, you know, once you have that product that you know, you will just know. You know, when you know what the market is, you just know that this is just good. This is, you know, this is it. But the whole idea of sampling that song was Burna Boy's idea.
So the Tony Braxton sample?
Yes.
Okay.
He told me, bro, I want to sample this record. Let's sample this record. You know, and me having a background of sampling music.
I mean, that's why your name is Chopstix.
Yeah. So I used to produce a lot of hip hop songs, and that was how even me and Ice Prince connected. The first song he heard that he made him fall in love with my production was a sampled song. It was a beat where I sampled a vocal from Jay-Z and some orchestra and stuff. And, you know, and I did a lot of sampling. I used to enjoy listening to a lot of J Dilla records and DJ Premier. DJ Premier was one of my favorite producers at the time. So as soon as he said he wanted to sample, you know, I was like, okay, cool. This is just this thing coming all the way back to help me. But, you know, I just knew that, okay, let's just try it. Let's experiment, because I'm always open to experiments. I don't shut down ideas, especially when I know that, you know, if the person that's suggesting it is someone who's also seasoned in their craft and they know exactly what they're talking about. So that was how that happened. We did it, we recorded it, but that same night anyway was the same day we recorded Sungba, the verse on Sungba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I recorded the verse on Sungba.
Okay.
You know, but
God, he must have been off crazy fun that day.
Yeah, so that means he recorded 2 smash
hits
same night.
Jeez, man, that's
Same day.
insane.
Yeah. So Last Last was done, he had it on repeat. It was just 2 of us in the studio. And usually that's how I like to work. Most times when artists come to the studio with a bunch of people, it kind of messes up the energy there, because you're trying to create, you're trying to just zone in and lock in and just be. When you find an artist in their creative zone, you know, they're usually in their zone. They're not trying to communicate with anybody. You're just in that zone. You're trying to create and get something out. So I think we were just locked in that zone. We're just 2 of us in the studio, nobody else in the studio. And when we're done, we knew that, like, this is gonna be you know, a problem.
Okay, so you know what I'm curious about?
Yeah.
Those royalty checks, what are they like?
Let's not talk about that. let's be down first.
So this year,
Yeah.
you hit a milestone. So you worked with Chris Brown on his last album.
Yeah.
And that album won the Best Global R&B Album at the Grammys.
Yeah.
So as a producer working on that, talk to me about the validation that you know, gave you.
So let me just take a step back and just give you a little, you know, backstory. So initially, when I started making music, I used to have a lot of people tell me, this is the reason why I'm just focused on the people that understand the kind of music that I make, which was why I started working with Greek Boys in the first place, because I feel like we were all on the same, you know, we all had the same idea of what type of music we were trying to create. You know, I would work with an artist and I hear stuff like, oh, your beat sounds too Western. Oh, this one is too hip hop. Oh, it sounds too. Because I now understand, you know, if the market is demanding for you know, street bread, Afrobeats, you will have to give them that, you know. But also, if you are a musician, I feel like you should just make music, man. Forget about what anybody. Just make music that makes you feel good. If it makes you feel good, it will make the next person feel good. If it makes the next person feel good, it will make 10,000 more people feel good. And if it does that, it will make 1 million more people feel good. There's people out there that will love what you make. Just make what you make. I mean, you know, be free of any form of validation. So I had already gotten that validation for myself, because I knew that I enjoyed what I made, and I wasn't in a hurry to go out there. I had to master how I made music, you know. And in doing that, I was watching people that I was looking at as my role model, and how.
Who are those people?
J Dilla, DJ Premier, Timbaland,
Okay.
all the likes. Yeah.
Those are some very heavy, like that is like very hip hop producers.
I have a heavy hip hop background.
I know.
So those are the people I was looking at, and I would literally reproduce their music and try to make it sound as close as possible. And then I started branching out a bit to find my own sound. You know, I know people stop saying, "Oh, your sound," but you have to have. There's a way everyone makes their music. You know, if we both make the same type of music, your approach to it will be different from my approach to it.
Yeah.
And that's the identity. That's what the identity that I have on my music is. The song was, because I never met him one-on-one. I never had any, one-on-one, like personal in-studio session with him. I had traveled to London. I went to London to have a business meeting with someone from Warner Music. And I had hit up one of my favorite artists from London. His name is Haley. He's one third of the group called Western.
Okay.
Yeah, he's literally one of my favorite artists in the entire UK. So we had done some songs in the past. I'd done a song for them in the past, and then I was like, okay, we might as well just lock in again and do one more. And we did a song called Nightmares. And so there was a writing camp happening in Jamaica that I was supposed to go for. They were all going, and Haley also was going as well as a writer as well. And the writing camp was for Chris Brown. But me being Nigerian, I couldn't, get my visa on time, because as a Nigerian, I don't know why the world doesn't want us to see the world. But anyways, I applied for the visa. It took forever to get out. And when I finally got the visa, the camp was already done and everyone was already gone back to their place. Boy, Chris, he heard the song with Haley and he fell in love with it. Someone just called me and told me, bro, look, this guy says he wants to cut this record. The crazy thing is the beat wasn't even finished. It wasn't done, because I felt like there was more I could do to it. But I'm like, okay, cool. He just wanted the song the way it is. Maybe, because music hits people differently. Maybe he hit him in a way that he just loved how everything was the way it is. So he cut the record and then got Barry Messiah to hop on the open verse. And that was how that song was done. Next thing, he dropped it as a single, shot a video for it in Jamaica. And he put it on the album as well. And the album went on to get nominated for Grammys and won, Best R&B Album for 2025 Grammy.
Flex.
Yeah.
Okay, so another milestone was London Town.
Yeah.
A song you produced for Mr. Easy and Gigs.
Yeah.
Getting a Sonic the Hedgehog placement.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious about is how do those things, it's the same way like I'm playing FIFA and I hear Benin Boys. It's like, how do those things happen? Like, give us free game.
There's different ways. There's different ways they happen. There's sync agents out there that that can help you get placements on those type of sync deals. And there's also situations where a song just fits a certain situation perfectly, and they're just gonna reach out to you and be like, yo, this song just fits this thing and we want to use it for it. And, because I just started diving into filmmaking now, and I understand it now, because there's visuals that match certain type of sound.
Yeah, like scoring. And
yeah, exactly. And if you use a different sound for that, it just doesn't work as well. So, it happens that way. Sometimes your music might just match, what they need it for, and they reach out to you. But other than that, there's people who actually your manager can help you get your song placed with sync agents, and they can help you or you can get signed to an agency that handles sync music or does sync for people, so they can get you deals with either movies, adverts, video games, or whatever. There's ways that it's done. So sometimes not by luck. It's by
strategic.
Exactly.
Strategic placement.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about, obviously, this kind of triggering a fascination with the filmmaking process. So talk to me about that. Like, what next with that?
So because I'm currently shooting a documentary,
What's the documentary about?
It's about my story, because I want to tell it in details and just put it out there, and let people just see for themselves, so I can stop. I want to tell my story properly, so I can stop telling it verbally, because there'll be a time where I might not be here anymore to tell my story. I'll probably be dead and gone, but the story will keep telling itself. And I want it to inspire upcoming and young, artists, young creatives as well, because I can understand. Now I'm just thinking back now, and I love the effect my role models had on me. I love how they inspired me. I know that feeling is once you get that feeling, you're unstoppable. Like, because you it's a gut feeling that you just know that I can do this thing, and there's no stop. And even if people are just yapping in your ear, telling you otherwise, it will have no effect on you, because you've already validated yourself. You're not looking for external validation. yeah, I want to be able to have that same effect on young people, you know, just to be able to, for them to watch my story and just know that, oh, I've gone through worse than this guy, or I haven't gone through what this guy has gone through, you know. So you just see that you have no excuse. Like anyone can be great. Greatness is not carved out for certain people. Anybody can be a great person, basically.
Okay, so my final two questions. Yeah. These are the ones I ask everybody that comes on here. So the first one is, if you could pick, you know, people you would like to see me have this conversation with, who would they be?
Very dark man.
God forbid.
I feel like it would be an interesting conversation with you.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the second person would be David Hundeyi. Yeah.
Yeah,
you might not be. I mean, you might not have him here physically, but if it's something you guys can do online, I would just love to watch. I feel like it will be an interesting conversation. Yeah.
Interesting is an interesting choice of words.
Yeah.
Second of all,
yeah.
So you sat down with me.
Yeah.
You've allowed me, you know, take my comb, look through your life, your career. Is there any question you'd like to ask me?
Yeah, just one. Why did you start the podcast? The genuine reason why you started.
Really, because I'm fascinated by people and their stories, and I wanted to create a platform that documented those stories. So one of my things is I say that a very big part of my work is documenting it's cool shit, but like my mom is watching this, so I'll say cool stuff. Like a very big part of my job is documenting cool stuff. Amazing. And so there's so many cool things that people are doing. There's so many cool things that are happening. There's so many cool things that, you know, that I'm just interested in. I want to know, I want to learn more about. And so I wanted something that all the people like me who are fascinated about these cool things could like watch.
That's amazing.
And get like insights on those cool things. So yeah, that's why
you're doing the Lord's work, because this is what I feel like a lot of our great people and a lot of our stories are not well documented. This is the reason why I'm actually shooting a documentary, and we need people like you to document, you know, and ask all this and interview more people and just, you know, make sure we have track records of all these things.
I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, for me, this idea is always validated by the people that, you know, decide to come on here, because they're all the people that we've reached out to that, you know, don't come on here. So the show can't exist without the people that make it work. And so, you know, I'm always grateful for.
It's amazing. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. And well done to you too, because you built an amazing career. You've soundtracked some of like the most iconic moments in Afrobeats. And, you know, you're just a kid from Jos. Like,
I know, right?
You know, you did the thing.
Thanks.
Anyway, to the viewers at home, thank you for watching. Catch you this time next week.